Introduction. Few things are as perplexing as trying to balance the present with the future. Do we focus on immediate gratification, or should we sacrifice today's pleasures for long-term success? It's the existential equivalent of choosing between eating an entire cake now or investing in a gym membership. The problem, of course, is that the future is unpredictable, often infuriatingly so. Enter quantum physics, where uncertainty isn't just an inconvenience, it's a fundamental rule. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle tells us that the more precisely we know a particle's position, the less we know about its momentum, and vice versa. In life, this translates to a cruel paradox. The more we fixate on distant goals, the harder it is to engage in the present, and the more we immerse ourselves in the present, the blurrier the future becomes. And then there's Stephen Hawking's light cones, which describe the limits of what can be influenced in space-time. This is all very useful in astrophysics, but less so when you're trying to decide whether to apply for a new job, start a business, or finally take up that pottery class. The challenge is that the future is not a single predetermined path, but a shifting web of possibilities. Fortunately, there's a way to navigate this uncertainty, and it comes from an unexpected place: network theory. Network theory mapping life's possibilities. The world runs on networks, from social connections to neural pathways, from transportation systems to the internet. Everything is a series of interconnected nodes and links. Life, too, operates as a network rather than a linear progression. Your choices don't just move you forward, they redirect your trajectory. In graph theory, a branch of mathematics dealing with networks, the way nodes, people, skills, opportunities are connected determines their accessibility. Suppose you're contemplating a career shift. If you view it as a rigid checklist, you might feel trapped. Must acquire X degree, must have Y experience. But network thinking offers a different approach. Identify central nodes, key people, skills or opportunities, and use them to bridge gaps. The moment you see career progress or any major goal as a flexible network rather than a rigid ladder, new paths emerge. Topology, another delightful area of mathematics, tells us that rearranging connections can change accessibility. In life, sometimes the shortest route to a goal isn't a straight line, but a strategic sidestep. The trick is not just accumulating more knowledge or contacts, but making sure they are linked in a way that creates opportunities. Since life rarely presents us with clearly marked paths, let's borrow from machine learning. Gradient descent is an optimization algorithm that helps AI improve decisions over time. Imagine you're lost on a mountain in thick fog. Instead of seeing the whole route, you take a step in the steepest downward direction. Each step might not be perfect, but by continuously adjusting, you eventually reach the valley. This is a far more realistic model of decision-making than waiting for complete clarity before acting. Expecting a grand, foolproof life plan is about as effective as waiting for a sat-nav to plot the perfect route before you even start walking. Instead, we can take small, calculated steps, evaluating, adjusting, and moving forward. But there's a catch. Learning rate matters. In gradient descent, if the steps are too large, you risk overshooting the best path. Too small, and progress is painfully slow. Life operates the same way. Overcommitting to drastic changes can backfire, while being excessively cautious can lead to stagnation. The goal is to find a balance between calculated risk and adaptability. The tension between momentum thinking, progress, goal setting, productivity, and position thinking, being present, appreciating the moment, is universal. Some people fixate on the future, always working towards the next milestone, but never actually enjoying the view. Others lose themselves in the present, only to realize years later that their lack of planning has left them unprepared. This is where network theory helps. Instead of seeing life as a binary choice between present and future, it encourages a dynamic system where choices are interconnected. A single decision doesn't just affect the next step, it ripples across the entire system. Thinking this way reduces the pressure to get it right every time because course corrections are always possible. Rather than aiming for perfect planning or total spontaneity, the best approach might be adaptive navigation, acknowledging uncertainty while remaining responsive to change. Conclusion: a dynamic approach to goal setting. Relying on rigid plans in an uncertain world is a recipe for frustration. A better strategy is to adopt flexibility, pattern recognition, and iterative learning, tools borrowed from network theory, quantum mechanics, and machine learning. Quantum physics reminds us that certainty is an illusion, and that's okay. Network theory teaches us that opportunities are shaped by connections, not straight lines. Gradient descent shows that small, consistent adjustments are the best way to optimize decisions. Taken together, these principles offer a more realistic and adaptable way to navigate life. The future isn't pre-written, but it isn't entirely random either. By treating it as a dynamic system rather than a fixed script, we can approach goal setting with both clarity and flexibility, and, crucially, without getting lost in the fog of indecision. As we wrap up, remember that adopting a dynamic approach to goal setting allows for both clarity and flexibility. This mindset helps us stay adaptable and focused, even when faced with uncertainty. Thank you for joining us on this journey to better strategies and principles.